Hey y'all, happy Monday. Welcome to another What Else is Going On, aka We Go Podcast YouTube video. I'm your girl, your host, Taria. I just wanted to come to y'all and do a quick little just Bravo gossip sesh, type video. Stuff that you probably have already heard by now, but stuff that we haven't talked about together. Potomac will be out tomorrow morning. Um, Today was a long, I knew today I was going to work long today. So I just got in, got my little stories together that I wanted to talk to y'all about. We get ready to get into them. Potomac will be out tomorrow along with OC. OC typically comes out on Sundays along with Miami. If you haven't already, check out my Miami review that I did. For those of you that have checked it out, thank you. Thank you to all that are tuning in. Let's get into a little bit of Bravo gossip. And some of the gossip we get into or conversation, chit chat. So let's get into some Bravo chit chat. I have some personal thoughts and feelings that I'm gonna share regarding my own life about some of this stuff. So let's get into it. First up, child, the news that has taken over. Every time I hear the word over, I think of Tabitha. What was the salon? Tabitha, give me the keys. She would go and clean up people's hair salons. Give me your keys. I'm taking over. I don't do a good Australian accent, but I don't know why, every time I hear taking over, I think of Tabitha. But anyway, the news that has taken over the Bravo and then made it even into the regular world, y'all. Wendy and Eddie and the charges against them. I was going back and forth about saying alleged, not alleged. What's not alleged is the charges, but we don't know if the crimes were committed, right? So that's where you kind of get, you know, innocent until proven guilty. Everyone is presumed innocent until proven guilty, right? Um, the evidence looked damaging, though. I'll say that, and it would have to be an elaborate scheme that somebody else set up, cha, because this can't be a scheme. If this is a scheme that Wendy and Eddie set up, it wasn't to come to us. It was to come to the insurance company with the BS. But we know that story has taken over. Everyone is talking about it. I can't believe either people are like, I can't believe it, or I can believe it, or it was this spouse, it was that spouse. They were in it together. They were in debt. The story has just really grown legs and taken over. And let's be real. Of course, we're talking about it. We're talking about this housewives show, and the housewives come on and she says, she leads with 4 degrees and husband's an attorney. And of course, right, we're all talking about it. And those of us in the Bravo sphere, we are really talking about this, like, what is really going on? So we all want to know what's Bravo's reaction. I know for me, I would love to be not a fly again, because I don't ever want to be a fly, but I want to be a invisible in the Bravo offices, child, the Bravo homes. Like what are they talking about this with Wendy and Eddie? But Andy does respond, not respond, but he reacts to the news of Wendy and Eddie's arrest. So let's get into that. I'm gonna play the audio for you. I just want to make sure it plays from the beginning. I hate when you refresh something, the sound goes off again. So let's see. All right, here we go.
Charges against Wendy and Eddie Osefo on Friday morning. And there's not much that I can say. I know nothing of the charges more than you guys do, than what I've read. Um, I'm sad about this. I'm really sad about this. And, Wendy is just, I'm a Wendy fan. And she has been a great housewife and a great role model for, she's always led with education and her solid family values. And so that's what, I'm really thinking about her and her family. And I'm certainly hoping that this is all some big, you know, nothing. And by the way, last night's Watch What Happens Live, we had taped that before I went to LA. So that is why you did not hear me asking Ashley her thoughts on that, in case you were wondering. I want to say that, like all of you, I found out about the charges against Wendy and Eddie Osefo on Friday morning. And there's not much that I can say.
All right, so we heard all that already. So Andy found out. He said, like the rest of us, he admires her family values. He hopes this is all just a big nothing burger. He likes Wendy. He said he's a fan of hers. So there's that. He also said, again, he also addressed, because people wanted to know why didn't Jeff Lewis or Ashley talk about, why wasn't it mentioned? Andy either. Why did none of them mention it on Watch What Happens Live? That's why, because it was pre-recorded. It was not, in fact, live. So I wonder if he has any live episodes coming up this week. Will he ask whoever is on the show, whether it's a Potomac housewife or a Salt Lake City housewife or an OC housewife or a Miami housewife or whoever it is, not even a housewife. I wonder if he's going to ask them about this. So that's what Andy has to say. We know Andy wasn't going to necessarily, even if he knew anything, he wasn't going to get into it, right? But he did speak out. I did see people wondering if he was going to speak out about it. So there you have it. Child, he found out like we did. Also with the whole Weddy, I keep saying Weddy and Endy, Wendy and Eddie thing. People were wondering, where were the kids? Who had the kids? So for those of you that don't know, Millie Chun, shout out to Millie Chun TV on YouTube. Swung through Maryland, came by the house. We chopped it up a little bit, had a little girls' day, and did a live. The live is still on her channel. Y'all know Millie has the people be in the inbox. They be dropping information to her, and what she revealed, she had it on good authority that the warrant was issued that morning. I think I might have said this in my video yesterday, but the warrant was issued that morning. They gave them time for the Wendy's mom to be there to watch the kids, and then they were taken in that night. So that's what the word on the street is. So I guess we shall see. People are wondering if if she will be at BravoCon. I know I was. There's no official word, I don't think. I'm saying if she will or won't be. I was trying to see if there was like maybe pictures of a lineup and maybe they've changed. I don't know. I know that they're paid to be there. It may not be a lot, but I know they do get paid. So I'm wondering if they're leaving it up to Wendy whether or not she wants to come. And I wonder if she will come. I mean, you know, that would take a lot. You would almost have, I was talking to somebody and I said, you would have to go to the point of in your mind, I don't care about nothing or anything. To have like that, you ever met people that have like a hardened shell that seem like they don't care about nothing or anything and they just move through life, not even like I'm better than, but just like I don't care about nothing. Like you almost have to deprogram yourself and remove every single emotion you have to be able to get through, to walk into a building full of thousands and thousands and thousands of people when you're being charged from something that you may have done. It'd be one thing if she was out here like, I didn't do it. I didn't do it. Like, I've been set up. We have proof, da 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 da. Then, yeah, you may walk through and people are going to believe what they want to believe, right? Depending on whether they like you or they don't. But if you know you ain't do it, you like, and it's still hard. But imagine with all this evidence that we have so far, again, the court's going to decide, what is what. Or I guess we'll know November 7th when we hear what their plea is, because they may plead guilty. Who knows? But I can't imagine. That's another thing. It's their trial is so far tentatively November 7th. And I say tentatively because that's what the state's attorney said during the Carroll County press conference the other day. And BravoCon is that next weekend. So if she in fact did plead guilty, even though it still has to go through court or what have you, possibly, I can't imagine what state of mind you'd have to put yourself in to walk into a building, be on a panel, be on different panels. Even if she does go, is she going to be on the wife swap panel? Because they pulled her episode. I wonder if, I wonder if depending on how all this shakes out, would Bravo then add her episode back? But it's not like a series, it's only 4 episodes. So I guess I don't know, child. This is a mess. This is still a mess. Let's get into a little bit more Potomac. Speaking of Potomac, now y'all know this heifer here works my nerves. Let's get into it. This is from No Chaser TV. Oh, what I just played y'all was from Radio Andy on Insta. What I'm getting ready to play you now is from shout out to No Chaser TV, my boo, by way of virtual reality. You know, the podcast that the girls be going on. So let's get into this a little bit. All right. This is Ashley.
And you're just not interesting, and you feel as though in order to be around us,
Talking about Stacy.
and you're just not interesting, and you feel as though in order to be around us and be in our group, then you have to fabricate. But just be authentic.
Are we feeling that is maybe what is inspiring her to maybe fib?
I'm gonna have to say yes, because by the way, I'm not the originator, right? TJ was the first person to bring this to the forefront. Let the record reflect. So if everyone is saying that and you have a common thread of this, then babe, like, what's really going on?
I know, and that like people have been coming up to you to say, I know that this is happening.
Oh my gosh, I can't even tell you.
I know you can't.
There's someone in DC. Oh man, I can't believe I'm saying this to you, Daddy. But there's someone in DC who wants to take me out.
You know how she said, "Oh, I can't believe I'm saying this to you." Remember at the reunion last year when Ashley was on the couch and they were talking about Karen, and she says, "I can't believe I'm saying this, but there was somebody in a restaurant that told me Karen comes in every such and such a day and has a drink." You can believe you're saying it. Go ahead. That's why she irks me.
Now, a girl that I know, and she's like, "I've got to tell you, I've known Stacey for years, yada yada yada," and she like wants to tell me what I need to know about her.
Really?
And not saying I'm going to go per se, but that just lets you know that the streets talk.
And you could have a standing happy hour reservation with some people.
Yes. I get all the tea.
You
You get the tea and I get the tea.
Yeah, when you get the tea, then you give me the tea, which is perfect.
You know
Yes.
what? This is how we work. This is why we're friends.
Wait, so this girl probably has more tea, like TJ aside, just all about Stacey?
Yes.
Oh gosh, so there's more lies that Stacey could be lying about?
We're talking through the decades.
Oh, decades plural.
Plural. Yeah. So we'll see what I get. If I go.
If you go. Okay.
Okay.
You gonna go because you have nothing else going on in your what you got going.
Unless you're boring and you're just not interesting and you feel as
She gonna go. One of the comments, first comment. So Stacey is her storyline this season. Exactly. And it's getting old. Have some of your own stuff going on besides just bloom party from a divorce from a predator. I tweeted, Ashley, I'm sure you guys have all seen the video of Ashley where she's at her open up your mouth and sounds come out of your throat, because I refuse to call it singing. Open up your mouth and songs come out of your throat event that she had. And she said, we catch melodies, we do melodies and not felonies. And I'm thinking, really? But you protected a predator who was grabbing asses and you was giving passes. Let's be clear. Like, you ain't, and she was so busy talking about, you don't know, this is new to y'all, we've been new. Now, if somebody comes knocking at her door and saying, hey, I'm an investigator from so-and-so and so-and-so. I would like to talk to you because I did see your social media. Because newsflash, we know they're watching the social media because they let us know that, the Carroll County Sheriff's Office. So they see you on social media saying it's new to y'all, but it ain't new to us. We've been new. So what did you know? Because you're just talking to be talking. Also, talking, and I'm going to get into it in my review. They were talking about Stacey lying, right? Stacey pulls up a divorce decree on her phone. I don't know if it's real or not. Some people say it's real. Some people say it's not. They didn't see it. Giselle says she didn't see a seal. Interesting that what Stacey pulled up on her phone to show a divorce is not real. She must have typed it up. But what this actress showed Giselle and Ashley on her phone, legal documents, we know for a fact they're real. Did y'all see a seal? We know they're real, but yet not near person on the internet has been able to find such papers that were actually filed. Give me a break. How about Just like Stacey's paperwork could have been fake, so could this paperwork have been fake that Ashley and Giselle claim to have seen. So, Giselle, I ask you, Stacey's paperwork that she showed you on the phone was fake, but the paperwork from TJ's best friend at the Black Women Essence event, you know for a fact that that was real. It couldn't be the same thing. It couldn't be paperwork that maybe was getting ready to be filed and not actually filed. Because if so, you didn't make that distinction. So you see, it's interesting how that works, right? Ashley gets on my nerves from season 1, from the rooter to the tutor. However, I'm a human. We know that Ashley has talked about her relationship or non-relationship with her with her father, right? And she came to, I think it was IG last night, and she wanted, let's look at she had a recent life event that she wanted to talk to us about. So this is from Housewife from a Housewife. So let's get into what Ashley had to say.
If you saw, I believe it was season 5, that my father had passed away. And if you saw, I believe it was season 5 of the show, I believe it was season 5, I tried to meet my dad. I've never met him, never spoken a word to him. We've had no conversation. And he's closed the door in my face. And today was his funeral. And I contemplated going, almost to have my own sense of closure. But I've been traveling so much, and I really wanted to be with my own kids this weekend. I found out that I have siblings and all of the things that I had no idea about my father, I learned about in his obituary. It said that in the obituary that his greatest accomplishment was being a dad to his 2 sons. It stung a little bit, whatever, but you know, it's interesting how you can mourn and have some sort of grieving, a unique form of grieving for someone who you have no relationship with, right? Just blood relations, but no emotional connection. Like, that is so interesting. I guess what I ultimately surmise from this experience of my life at 37 is really learning to close a door. A door that was never opened, but also will never be opened. I think I've always held out some sort of hope that maybe, like, apparently my dad was in hospice, maybe prior to him passing, he would have this sudden wave of conscience, to be like, oh, let me at least, like, make amends or say something to my daughter, but nothing like that, you know? And it's just so weird. I really can't understand how any human being doesn't want to love their children or can't love a child, but it is what it is, and life will certainly go on. All right, have a great evening, babes. Okay, and also, you guys know I'm pretty superstitious. I'm very spiritual. I look at the signs. I'm very perceptive of those things. The day that I was leaving to go to New York, these black crows were circling my house, and they were all in my yard. And I called my mom. Well, I took a picture first, and then I called my mom, and I was like, Mom, why are all of these crows circling my house, sitting on my roof, circling up in the sky, in my yard? There were 4 crows in my yard. I've never experienced that. My mom informed me that my father had passed away.
All right, so we heard that, right? So you hear that now. Being honest, I try to always be honest with you guys. Like I said, this woman, I just really, truly has never, from season 1, cared for her, right? I also didn't agree with her, or even when Kenya did it, if you have a parent that no matter how wrong they are, like wrong, you don't want nothing to do with, and you don't want to see me showing up with cameras thinking that's going to make them speak to you. From Ashley's side of it, that was the first time she would have met her father ever. And you think he was going to come out on camera. And that's just hurting you when you do that, right? And I always felt like if you were willing to do that for TV, not saying that she wasn't authentic in her feeling, but I just felt like if you don't want to be a part of my life, me showing up with the camera is not going to make you. And the same thing with Kenya, right? However, that doesn't stop the little girl in you from wanting to know your family. So I'm going to give you, when I say that I can kind of identify a little, but not a lot. So my mom married my dad when I was 4. And when I say my dad, I'm talking about the person who raised me from the time I was 3 years old. 3, 4 years old. I'm 48. That's my dad. So whenever you hear me say my dad, that's my dad. That's what I'm talking about. But I do have a biological father, right? Didn't know him, didn't know him, didn't know him. And then I saw him when I was maybe in elementary school. I saw him again when I went to a high school football game. He gave me $10 for a funnel cake. Pff. Saw him again when I was dating Corey. For those of you that don't know, Corey's my husband. When I was dating Corey, me and Corey had went out to a bar with our friends, and there's this man trying to hit on me. And then I look him in his face and say, "You don't know who I am?" And he said, "Oh, I can't believe I just tried to hit on my own daughter." Now all of a sudden he want to introduce me to everybody talking about I'm so pretty. Wild. For some reason, every time, so then fast forward about, actually from that time on, for about a year, he would come into this men's clothing store that I worked at, and he would bring other family members in, be like, "Look at her." And then his brother came in, "Oh, she looked just like mama." I don't even know y'all. But it would make me angry, and I couldn't understand why I was angry. When I was younger and realized what was going on, like middle school, it was like, oh, okay. Oh, I have this whole other, when you say family, right? Family, like, oh yeah, I would like to know if I have siblings or whatever. But then honestly, once I got older, I didn't think about it. Like in terms of wanting to get to know him, but I didn't grow up with sisters. So I have 2 younger brothers. Shout out to my brothers. But as a girl, I was like, oh, I would like to have sisters too. I know they're out there, but I never was interested in really getting to know him because I had a father that was taking care of me. So fast forward, and he would come into my store, and I'll never forget, me and Corey were still dating. He would come into my store and he called and wanted me to meet him for lunch. And I was like, okay. And I never showed up. And I was like, and he kept calling. That was, do y'all remember the caller ID boxes? Like when caller ID first came out, you had a box. It wasn't on your phone. And I remember just looking at it saying, and never regretting not going. But then I started to notice people would randomly bring him up to me, and I would get angry and start crying. And I couldn't figure out, why am I crying? I'm not interested in meeting him or like spending time with him. I got to know some of my siblings. The wild thing is, Corey introduced me to 2 of my brothers from that side of the family. Corey, this man that I'm dating, comes into my store and they're like, "I've heard, my mom told me about you," because I was the oldest, right? Crazy. But whenever somebody would bring him up, I would get so angry, and I felt like they were making him invade my space. Like, I don't like, you don't have a part of my life. I'm not interested. And when somebody would bring him up to me and want to have a conversation, to me, it felt like an invasion of why are you doing this? And y'all, I would just cry, and I couldn't figure out why. And then I would be mad because I'm like, why am I'm crying? I'm mad because I'm crying, because I'm not crying because I want to get to know this person. Siblings, yes. Him, no. Right? Okay. Moving forward, I think for my like 41st or 40th birthday, he had got my phone number from somebody, called my phone, left this message. Mind you, it wasn't the right birthday. It was like 3 days before. And was like, "Oh, baby girl, da 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 da. I always love you," whatever. I never called him back. I wasn't interested. I got angry that he called me, like, "Why are you calling me?" 2 years ago in April, I think it might have been April. I don't know. I was laying in bed. So when Ashley talks about all of this, she wanted to know hers. I didn't want to know hers, but I wanted to know the family part, right? The family. But when she talks about signs, I guess before she saw these black crows before he passed. Y'all, I was laying in my bed, and it was like 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. My eyes popped open. I remember rolling over on my side, and I said, if he passed away, would I go to his funeral? And then I started thinking, and I said, Can you imagine me going to his funeral and I'm not listed in the obituary and I am the oldest, right? Because I think he had like 6 or 7, and I pretty much met all of them, but maybe one. So just, and I'm thinking to myself, like, imagine, right? I wonder what he'd have me listed as. And then I said, probably wouldn't be listed at all. And as I'm laying in bed, y'all, I'm asking myself, how would you feel if he passed away? Would you feel anything? Would you feel any emotion? And I said, I would feel sad that somebody that has a family and has people connected to them lost someone, because a death is always like, once they're gone, they're gone. And there, especially if there's people that love that person, they're going to feel emptiness. And I said, but I wouldn't feel any emptiness because I don't know him. Later on that morning, I get a phone call from my mom, and he's not somebody that we would talk about. And she told me he had been found dead in the shower. And I immediately was angry because his name was not at my mom, but like I immediately felt anger because I'm like, here he is, even in death, he's invading my space. Why is he here? It was the same morning. And then I'll never forget, I was talking to my cousin and I was so mad, I was crying. And she said, it's because you're angry. You haven't forgiven him. Even though you don't want to be involved, there's some anger, clearly, right? Y'all, I'm not even gonna lie. My cousin was like, you need to pray about that. I pulled my car over, said a prayer, and I was like, I release any anger that I have for him. I release him from an obligation that he chose not to fulfill. I understand that he was young and he may have done the best he could with the tools he had, which wasn't much, but that's on him. It's nothing I did. And I release him, even though he's gone, I still release him from that, and I release
I do want to
myself.
know one thing.
Child,
Why
somebody
did
is talking.
you have to buy the Haitian mortician?
Child, wait a minute, y'all see. Hold on a second. Child, the computer didn't start, Andy didn't cut it and start talking. But anyway, I said I released him, and I have not been angry since. And even though felt a little different from Ashley in terms of wanting to know, but when she talked about his death and how she had to sign and how needing to release, that was my way of releasing him too as well. And I legit felt lighter. So even though it's not quite the same, when a person's gone from the earth, the person's gone from the earth. And, she found out she has 2 brothers, and she thought one day, he would want to see his daughter. At the end of the day, I have learned that people are just going to be people. And we have to figure out a way to, the closure you're looking for may not necessarily be closure in the way you think you need it. I hope that Ashley does heal that part of her that still yearns and still hurts, as a little girl. Because I remember when people tell me, oh, you look just like him, or you look just like his mom. And you're like, what do they look like? Right? Even though I'm thinking I look like my mom, but then somebody will say, oh, you look just, and it's like, oh, wow. So even though I'm not the biggest fan of Ashley, I can understand some of the feelings that she's feeling. And I hope that she is able to get the release that she needs, and shout out to her for seeming to be a good mom to her boys. Like my mom was a good mom to me, so shout out to her for being a good mom to her sons. And I hope that their father shows up in their life as well. But so shout out to that. But Ashley, you are not catching melodies, honey. The melodies are chasing you, and you, my dear, run faster. Moving on. Let's get into, speaking of Eddie and Wendy. So hold on a second, y'all. I posted this morning. I know y'all have seen this. I'm sorry. Katie is wild. So an account, shout out to the Mary Cosby fan page. I believe I followed them. They're so funny. They put welcome back Mama Sheila with Ashley and Sheila. Katie reposted it. Katie Rost from Potomac, formerly a former Potomac housewife, says, Ashley and I love each other. There is no beef, but she has no couth. I got to throw a flag. My magical vagina. that she told details about. She told Andy Cohen, I have a hamster, Uzi, on national TV. She ate it, so I guess she would know. She is just a hater. We love you, Wendy. And then it was gone. See? Look, it's gone. This is Katie's account. It's gone. But she then posts this. I only take down posts that serve their purpose, and I'm sorry if your comment got lost in the sands of time, but I certainly said what I said, and now it's time to move on. Katie. This was after. Katie is funny to me. Katie was one of the only people that could get, well, outside of Candace, because Candace could literally make Giselle kind of be like, not Giselle. Katie was the only one. Let me go back. Before Candace came along, Katie was the only one that could handle Ashley and kind of get Ashley together and would get Giselle together as well, right? Then came along Candace, and Candace and Ashley could be in an argument, and Candace would have Ashley like mouth hanging open, like, huh? But Katie could, like, one of my favorite lines. I'm sorry I called you dumb. Maybe I meant you were stupid. And when Giselle goes, child, and Robin is nervously laughing, one of my favorite short scenes of all time. But do y'all remember? Okay, remember when they talked about two Potomac housewives having sex? And people thought it might have been Charisse and somebody? Do y'all remember that? Come on, y'all have got to remember. Hold on. I'm looking it up because y'all remember, and did we know that it was Katie? Oh, that's right. Katie claimed she slept with Charisse too. Y'all remember that? Hold on. Katie Rost claims she slept with Charisse. Somebody had commented on my tweet and said, not the real Hunting Housewives. If y'all have not watched Hunting Wives, if you have, you know what this was back in 2023. I'm all about the tea of the housewives. RHOP, Katie Rost alleges affair with Charisse Jackson Jordan and conspiracy involving producers and Karen Huger. She said, hold on. According to Katie, she lied about her sexual tryst with Charisse so that she could get her divorce settlement. Katie also insists that RHOP producers and Karen Huger knew about their hookup. She had tweeted, maybe next season on hashtag RHOP, they will ask at Charisse Jordan about the night we had sex, and I lied for her so she could get her divorce settlement, maybe. I'm not bitter, just saying, or maybe she is so entertaining, we will be amazed as never. Then she said she wasn't outing with Charisse. She only kept quiet in the past to protect her friend. I never outed anyone. That is a term used in the past when people were ashamed of their sexuality. I protected my friend. But yeah, I don't lie. Told my executive producer also, I don't lie. Then she added, I never lied. Told Karen first. Told my mom, I don't lie. Back in 2020, the Black socialites first reported that Katie slept with one of her fellow Potomac housewives. The outlet shared the following. Can you guess which former RHOP cast member Katie Rost allegedly tried to have lesbian sex with? I'm going to show y'all this. Child, not Katie out here. Child. The Black socialites. Can you guess which veteran OG that Katie Rost allegedly got into her hotel bed heavily intoxicated without any panties and wanted to have lesbian sex with? The same OG who Katie went over her house from the village after being heavily intoxicated again and got drunk and threw up all over her home, woke up the next morning and started drinking beers again, stole a six-pack from her garage and sent her on a wild goose chase for hours because Katie couldn't remember where she left the car she was originally driving. Hot lesbian nights in Potomac. Now here's the clue. Hashtag RHOP. Hashtag why cry over spilled milk when you can laugh over champagne? Katie responded to the allegation in the comment section of the post. I was going to bite my tongue, but as a bisexual woman who had a sexual relationship with a cast member when I was on the show is my own business and hers. It is mean-spirited and unnecessary to write this. We have a friendship that will last beyond this haterade. I am proud of that and of the love that we made. I think it's evil to shame us for what we had and have. Hashtag RHOP, hashtag bisexual pride, hashtag lesbian, hashtag Katie vibes. Oh, she was hashtagging Katie vibes back 2020. Hashtag Katie Rost. She then shared this, but deleted it on Instagram. It's right here. Just got a super bitchy text from a friend. Not necessary. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. You know the rest. Hashtag be cool. If you had kept your mouth shut in the first place, I wouldn't be cleaning this up. Hashtag Katie vibes. Mind you, you got Sharice on the left and Ashley on the right. I don't even. Child, moving on to Miami. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Let's get into a little bit of Miami news. So again, if you haven't seen my recap for the Real Housewives of Miami reunion 2, make sure you go check it out. So this is according to Reality Blurb. Kempire also talked about it on his channel. Guerdy Abrera calls out Julia's social worker for labeling her an eternal victim amid drama, threatens to expose other nasty comments. So it came up, Guerdy's text messages came up, and she was saying she didn't know why the producers even blurred out some words. They tried to make it more salacious than it was. It was just showing how, remember, Julia lied and said Guerdy invited her, basically invited herself to go on this cruise and then got mad when she got on the cruise. And Guerdy's like, I have text messages proving you asked me to go. Those text messages were relevant because it kind of blew Julia's whole storyline out the water. Like, you're lying about all of it, right? But anyway, so Guerdy commented, somebody did a post about Julia, a recent post, and Guerdy commented and said, no, I did not offer to get on the cruise. She asked me, and that's what my text messages proved. Till this day, I still don't know why my text messages were blurred in the first place. There was no big reveal except for this simple fact, but blurring them made it seem like I was exposing intimate details, which I would never do that. Child, the social worker who helped Martina and Julia adopt those beautiful black boys that they adopted, and I think was this the one that was on camera? I'm not sure, I forget. But anyway, she commented to Guerdy and said, you are the eternal victim, move on. This show defines no one. Why are you as a social worker in the comments? So Guerdy said, hi, Connie. Recognize you from our show. You are Julia's social worker. But did she pay you a bonus to also be her social media spokesperson? Stay out of this and stick to foster caring. I will publicly expose all the nasty comments you have wrote about me and sent me. And if you've seen the show, you know I will. Keep it up, Connie. Why is Connie, the social worker, taking up for Julia in the comments? This is the person in charge of getting children into good foster homes. Why are you and sending nasty messages allegedly to Guerdy? No way. And so some of the comments were, if I were Guerdy, I'd report that social worker to her HR department and let them know she's publicly and privately harassing me. I'd also go out of my way to file a police report. Someone else said, as a social worker, I'm curious as to why she's choosing to spend her free time harassing Guerdy rather than keeping herself afloat in this administration. I would think her time would be better served doing her actual job and finding ways to keep a job. Somebody else said very unprofessional and wondered if she valued her license. Somebody else said seems like an unfit social worker to me. Do we need to make some calls? Child, what is going on? That is absolutely insane to me. Like, yeah, somebody needs to talk to the people at your job about you. Like she said, did Julia pay you to be her spokesperson? That's crazy. But y'all, that's all that I want to talk to y'all about. Thank y'all for letting me get that, not even off my chest, but share my story. Like I said, it wasn't directly like Ashley's story, but I understood, a part of her And I'm gonna go ahead and say, hey, listen, shout out to her for sharing. She tell everybody else's business. Why not share her own? But yeah, so thank y'all for letting me talk about it. Y'all let me know what y'all think about all of it. The social worker messaging Guerdy, sending nasty messages per Guerdy, and also commenting publicly. Dumb. That's dumb. Child, Katie Rost and Ashley, and which brought us back to Ashley and Sharice. Child, Katie stole a 6-pack. Anyway, and then let me know what y'all think about what Ashley said about someone contacting her. Someone came to her Fall Bloom, a friend of hers. It's always a friend of hers or somebody she know, right? Wants to take her out to tell her all the things she should know about Stacey from years ago. Why? And let me know what y'all think about Andy's statement about the Eddie and Wendy of it all. I love y'all so much, and I will talk to y'all later. Have a wonderful rest of your Monday. See ya. Y'all, we get a break. No Housewives tonight. Oh, I'm going to also be covering the Braxtons. That's going to be late this week, too. And then we'll be back on our regularly scheduled. Well, the Braxtons wasn't scheduled, but back on a regular schedule next week. See ya.